absolutely save your life in a grid down scenario. Let's talk about it. So I first off want to say, as a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. Please don't sue me. This is my dog Marshall. He almost died recently if it wasn't for antibiotics. Now, I'm going to go in-depth into the story a little later. Come on, get that wet nose on my ear. I'm going to go in-depth into the story later on. I'm going to do a video of Marshall's progression. He's still kind of a shadow of his former self. He got hit by a car. He broke his leg. The YouTube community pitched in, bought him a new leg, put him back together. He was fine for about a week or so. Then he got an abscess on his leg. He got a serious infection that he developed as a result of the surgery that happened. So if it wasn't for antibiotics, Marshall would be a goner right now. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Even in the best of times when everything is just peachy, you're going to need prescription medication. And that's the problem with antibiotics, is that you need a prescription to get them. That's not the case with fish antibiotics. Alright, so these are fish antibiotics, amoxicillin to be exact. There's a variety of different types that you can get. Now we're going back to basics here, so for those of you who are thinking to themselves, why is he going back to this basic ass shit? Well, the reason why is simple. Every day there are thousands of people who are entering the wonderful world of emergency preparedness, and it's always good to go back to the critical fundamentals that are going to keep people safe in a grid down situation. This is one of them. And speaking of fundamentals, if you haven't checked out the Survival Medicine Handbook, written by one of the foremost medical authors in the preparedness community, Joe Alton and Amy Alton, nurse practitioner, medical doctor, go and check it out. I'll post a link in the description. The purpose of most first aid books are, as the title intends, for first aid. It's not for if help is not coming. This is for if help is not coming. We're talking long-term grid down. In my opinion, this is an absolute must for anybody who is preparing for a long-term disaster situation. Now, this right here is the medication that Marshall was prescribed. It's 500 milligrams of amoxicillin. These right here, for fish antibiotics, are 250 milligrams of amoxicillin. So a lot of people are going to come with the common criticism that, well, those medications that are given to animals, like dogs and fish, are of subpar quality than those given to humans. So according to Dr. Joseph Alton, MD, there's a very high likelihood that the antibiotics which are prescribed to animals are exactly the same as those prescribed to human beings. Ergo, you can rely on these in a crap hits the fan situation to treat some sort of life-threatening infection. And even if you can't 100% rely on it, it's absolutely better than nothing. If you were planning on getting this for the sole purpose of use post-grid down when no other help is coming, you absolutely do not want to use any medication which is not intended for human consumption when the grid is up and when there are doctors and pharmacies available. I'm almost 100% convinced that Marshall would have died were it not for antibiotics. And there's many cases where I've had to use antibiotics maybe twice in the last 10 years, where I might not have died, but life would have been incredibly challenging in a crap hits the fan scenario. Eat. So in a grid down situation, you're going to have a variety of issues which are going to confound to make you far more susceptible to bacterial infection. Number one, you're going to have compromised immunity because you're going to have increased stress. You are not going to be getting the same amount of nutrients as you normally do. In addition to that, you're also probably going to be out there doing more stuff with your hands. Right now, we have the luxury of paying somebody else to do this or paying somebody else to do that. Unfortunately, in a grid down situation, it's going to be a DIY universe. You're going to have to get in there, you're going to have to get your hands dirty, and as such, you are going to potentially injure yourself. Injuries can lead to infection, and infection can be fatal. In addition to that, and this is speculation, but very informed I would say, is that our immune systems have been propped up by the grid. We live in very sterile, sanitized, whitewashed climates where we're not exposed to many germs anymore. We use a lot of household products to keep those germs at bay. Kids don't really play outside anymore, so they don't develop the natural immunity to a lot of things. If a person from North America went, say, and bathed in the Ganges River, like they do in India, you would probably get sick right away. Those people have been exposed to that their entire lives, so their immune systems, at least with regards to those parasites and those pathogens that are present there, they're immune to those things in ways that we aren't. So because survival is going to require you to be outside more in a post-disaster world, you are going to be involved in more high-risk situations, which is going to increase the likelihood that you are exposed to these pathogens, which might make you sick. Now, if I was just to pull a random number out of my butt, I would make the conservative estimate that you're probably 10 times more likely to come in contact with a pathogen post-collapse, and indeed, you're probably far more likely to actually contract something which is treatable via antibiotics. So my final suggestion is this, and I have no affiliation with Thomas Labs, the people who make this brand. In fact, I tried to sell them at my store, and unfortunately, because of some legal reasons, they can't be sold in Canada. However, as far as I know, you can get them shipped to Canada from companies that sell them in the United States. You can look into that yourself. It's not that hard. You go on Google, you type something in, it brings up all these search results. Amazing technology. But here's the thing. I titled the first video I did on this topic, "This might be illegal right away, so you better go out and get it." And I still stand by that. It's only a matter of time before the government starts cracking down on the loophole that allows for these to be sold without a prescription to the general public. So I would strongly advise you, if there was anything that you should be adding to your arsenal, it should be this, because it really hit home when I realized that Marshall would have died were it not for this. And if I was sick or a family member was sick, this would be all you wanted in that situation. So antibiotics, you can grow your own penicillin using bread mold and orange and all that stuff, but there's a lot more to that, and there's other molds which can be potentially harmful to the body, so you don't want to, introduce other pathogens to the body while you're trying to treat one. I personally do not know a whole heck of a lot about making my own penicillin. I don't think I've met anybody who's actually made their own and tried it on themselves, so I would strongly advise, get this stuff, store it. You can wrap it in a Mylar bag if you want. That's what I do. Even though they say it's expired, it's still going to last a long time. If you have any advice on how to preserve medications for long periods of time, post a detailed comment in the description, and I'll make sure I pin it at the top of this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks again for your support for Marshall's recovery. Go get yourself some fish antibiotics. They may well save your life in a grid down situation. Thanks for watching Canadian Prepper Out. And one last thing, you can also get the bug out rules for your first aid gear at CanadianPreparedness.com. One of the best ways to organize your first aid gear, we keep one of these around the house behind the bathroom door at all times, fully stocked. You can get all of the essential medical gear that you need from CanadianPreparedness.com, including the bug out rules, which range from $109 to $149, depending on the model that you're looking for. This is a great way to visually identify all of your first aid gear in a moment's notice when you need it the most. How much you want this antibiotic? Speak! The best way to support this YouTube channel is to support yourself by gearing up through CanadianPreparedness.com or BugOutRule.ca. Premium quality gear at the best possible price using the incredibly secure and easy to use Shopify platform. We offer free shipping to the United States for orders over $200 USD and free shipping to Canada over $75. So support the channel by supporting yourself.